Hey everybody, it's Amy from Magic and Light Collection. You can find all of our products at www.magicandlightcollection.com. So today I have an image of a pelican that I took a couple weeks ago at a wildlife park, and I want to use the Vintage Spring action set on it just to give you guys an example of how you can use the Vintage Spring action set. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and pull up my actions. Today I'm working in Photoshop Creative Cloud. The process is going to be the same for Photoshop CS3 through 6 users. And Elements users, you're not going to have this action window, you're going to have an action palette where you will double click on the actions. So here in my actions window, I'm going to open the Magic and Light Vintage Spring set by clicking the arrow on. There we go. So the first thing that I want to do with this image is use the Wonder Brush. And the Wonder Brush is really awesome. I'm just going to press play. Because what it does, and you can see nothing happen, that's because this is a hidden brush. What we'll need to do is go ahead and use a brush with a white foreground color to brush it on with the layer mask selected. So with that said, the Wonder Brush really gives you a nice depth and quality to your colors, but it also gives the whites a dreamy, gauzy kind of look all at the same time. So I'm going to turn the opacity of my brush up to 100%, and then I'm going to brush over my image, and you can see this is darkening the darker colors but leaving the highlights alone, and it's also giving the whites a nice dreamy quality. Okay, so watch as I brush over the pelican's white. It gives the white a more glowing quality. Make sure that I hit the whole thing. Okay. Let me just go over one more time to make sure that I've got it. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to click this layer on and off and you'll be able to see the difference. So there it is before the Wonder Brush, and there it is after the Wonder Brush. Pay attention to the pelican, as you can see that it looks like it has a more glowing quality. Okay, the next thing that I want to do is use the brush on color action. Once again, this is a hidden action. You'll need to use the brush tool with a white foreground layer selected. And I don't know if I want to use 100% because that's going to be pretty crazy, but we'll just try it and see. So I'm just going to hit the palm trees all over. Now with this I'm going to avoid hitting the white of the pelican, because when you use the saturation on white, it tends to give you a really nasty yellow tone, and we definitely don't want that. Okay, so I was careful not to hit the white, but I definitely want to do the pelican's bill. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Isn't this guy kind of amazing? I have to say, I'm going to just quickly, I'm going to brush over his bill, being pretty careful not to hit the white. These things are huge, these pelicans. I mean really, really big. They are pretty scary. Mostly because they were just out running around at this wildlife park. So I'm going to be careful not to hit the white. Okay. Oops. Alright, this is a good example of how to show you how to remove it. Still with the brush tool, I'm going to switch to a black foreground color, brush over it, and this is going to take it away. Okay, zoom back out. So let's take a look. Did I miss a spot right here? It must just be darker. Okay, so you can see that the pelican's bill is much more pronounced and bright now. So that's before the brush on color, after the brush on color. Now let's take a look at the whole thing before. That's just with 2 actions. That's very quick. Before and after. So I'm not quite done with this. I want to use an all-in-one action, and there's several included with this set, and I'm going to choose the Vintage Magnolia action and press play. I'm just going to let it run through, and you guys keep in mind it's going to look crazy. Whoa, crazy. Okay, so as in every other tutorial I've told you guys about this set, go ahead and just click off the layers. Okay. You're going to see that brush on color and Wonder Brush here, I'm leaving those on because we've already used those. So there's another one, Color Boost. It's going to give us even more color. That's fine. I can live with that. That looks good. I'm going to click on the bleach, which we really probably don't need. You can see the sky is blown back here, and the pelican has a couple of blown spots, but it's pretty bright as it is, so we'll leave that one out. Next, we're going to click on the Vintage Magnolia tone, and this one, you can see it gives us a nice depth to the image, but it really needs to be turned down. It's way too much. That's before and that's after. So we'll just take it down a notch until it looks good. Okay, I'm happy with that. So next we'll click on the contrast layer, and that's just going to give us a little bit of more contrast in the shadows. And I don't know that we necessarily need that. We'll leave that one off for later. Warm It Up is going to give you a much warmer tone to the image, and I think that's probably okay. Let me just turn it down a tiny bit. Okay. And Lighten Up, I doubt we need to use this because the exposure looks pretty good. Actually, I don't mind it because the shadow, the shadow here on the pelican, there's a pretty big difference between the shadow and the highlights. The highlights are totally blown. If we do leave Lighten Up on, then it evens it out just a little bit. But I think we can probably leave it off on this one. Next are some optional layers that you can add. There's a light brush, a dark brush, a blush brush, and also a vintage haze. So if we were to click on the vintage haze, it would give us this nice vintage quality to the image. You can turn it down or up with the master opacity slider and do as little or as much as you want. I think the image is truly probably good without this hazy layer. And so there you have it. Let's check it out before. This is the before, and that's the after. That's a crazy difference. If you want to do any sharpening, you can click on the sharpening layer. It's set pretty high, so you'll have to turn it down and then bring it back up. This is the before, and that's the after. It's a little too sharp, so I'm just going to take that layer off. But it's a pretty big difference, and that's a very quick action to use. The great thing about the Vintage Spring actions and all of the actions in our collections is that you can use the same action throughout your entire workflow for a session and get the same results every time. As you all know, it can be difficult to get the same results in each image of a session, and you really should process each image the same from one set. So this makes it a lot easier for you. I hope that you found this helpful, and you can see all of our products at www.magicandlightcollection.com.